So SQL does have a version of an if, and we're going to be using that next. And our scenario is our boss would like to know which vendors have a credit total greater than 500. For vendors with a total greater than 500, they would like Premier displayed. And for vendors that don't have a total greater than 500, they just want normal displayed. And in addition to Premier or normal, the boss would also like to see the vendor ID. So we are going to be using the examples database, and we're basically going to select vendor ID followed by our if statement. So we've got use examples, select vendor ID, and now we get to the if statement. So it's two I's in the if, and then in parentheses, first is the condition that we're checking, and we're checking the credit total column to see if it is greater than 500. And then we put in a comma. Now we have to tell it what to do if it's true. So if it's true, then we want to display Premier. And we do a comma. If it's false, we want to display normal. And we're going to give this column a label of customer type. And this is all coming from active invoices. So setting the if up, you always have your condition first and a comma. After the first comma is where you tell it what to do if it's true. In this case, we're displaying text, but you could have a calculation in there. You could also just have a number. Okay. Then you put in a second comma, and after the second comma, you tell it what to do if it's false. So we're going to go ahead and run this. Okay, and we have very few Premier, only one vendor is a Premier vendor. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move the closing comment down. And our next scenario. The boss would like us to generate a report for customer service that shows the vendor ID, year-to-date purchases, last year-to-date purchases, the contact person's first initial and last name, and the phone number, along with a column indicating if they should be red flagged or not. So the criteria for red flagging is basically if they spent more last year than this year. So we're going to look to see if last year-to-date purchases are greater than the current year-to-date purchases. Okay, so we are going to have to use the if in order to check the condition and then display one of two messages. So again, using examples, and we're going to do a select on vendor ID, year-to-date purchases, last year-to-date purchases, and then we get into our if statement. And we want last year-to-date purchases. See if that's greater than the current year-to-date purchases, comma. If that's true, we are red flagging them because they just need to spend more. And if it's false, we're just going to not display anything. So we'll just do a blank. And we'll give that column a label here of need to contact. Okay, so we're not quite done displaying stuff because they also wanted to see the first initial of the vendor contact name. So we're going to do a left on vendor contact first name, grabbing the first initial, concatenating that with a period and a space, concatenating that, oops, we only want single quotes there, concatenating that with the vendor contact last name, and then we're going to display that column as contact. And then lastly, we want the phone, and we're just going to get rid of the spaces that are on the right-hand side and the left-hand side. So we'll do a left trim, and inside that, we're going to do a right trim on vendor phone. That just gets rid of spaces, and we're going to give that a little alias of phone. And this is all coming from vendors. And we're going to sort by need to contact in descending order. Okay, so need to contact could be in single quotes or brackets. Here I put it in single quotes, up here in brackets. I'm going to go ahead and run this. Okay, and boy, oh boy, do we have a lot of red flags. Okay, so we've got the phone numbers. Have no idea how they're going to get a hold of some of these people. Okay, but you can see our output. And I'm going to go ahead and move my closing comment down.